Hello everyone, welcome to the Canadian Edge. Time for another knife review, and we're going to do a little bit of old school today. With the knife we're looking at is the Buck 112 Ranger, and this model has been around for a long time. A lot of you might be familiar with it. People who like the old school pocket knives were very familiar with it, or most likely familiar with it. It has a blade length of 3 inches. Open, it's 7.25 inches, and closed it is 4.25 inches. It is a lock back, so you got to press the button on the back to lock it. The steel on it is 420 high carbon steel, and it is a clip point blade. The weight is 5.6 ounces, and you can see it is a beefy knife. A lot to it. And the handle on it, it's got the brass liners with the ebony hardwood, and these are all pinned in there, so can't really take this knife apart, and nor do you need to. So it's got the brass bolsters and brass liners, and it comes with a leather sheath. And you've got a nice belt clip on the back there, and not much to it. Buck leather sheath. So these are a heavy duty knife. These are meant to do heavy duty jobs, and they're a solid build. They're a workhorse of a knife. They, as I said, they've been around for quite a while. They're kind of the smaller brother to the Buck 110, which has the longer blade on it. And so you can either throw this in your pocket and carry it that way, or you can carry it with the belt sheath. I'd prefer the belt sheath if I was going to be carrying this around too much, just because that's a lot to put in your pocket. That's a heavy knife to be carrying in your pocket. So size-wise, these knives, as I say, 7.25 inches open. If you're familiar with the Ontario rat knife, they are pretty much the same size. And I'm just going to change my camera angle a little bit so you can see that. So you can see they're pretty close to the same size. So yeah, not much difference in size than the Ontario Rat 2. So they're a mid-sized knife, and as I say, they're good for a lot of chores. This knife I haven't used very much of late, and so I'm not even sure what it's like for sharpness. It doesn't seem to be that sharp. It probably needs, yeah, as you can see, it does cut the paper, but not great. And how about our good old zip tie? I'll try that real quick and see how that fares. Oh, goes through there, so a little bit of sharpness there. And how about this green cord? It cuts through there, but you can see it's not a clean cut. So it would be good to run this over a sharpening stone or through a sharpener, but it cut through that pretty easy, and it fairly clean cut on there. So what do I like about a knife like this? Well, it's got a good grip on it, comfortable grip. It's ergonomical, fits in your hand really well. It's, yeah, it's good to hang on to. Nice and solid knife. The pivot on it is a smooth pivot. It's not something you'd flick open with one hand, mind you, but it is a fairly smooth knife. What I don't really like about this is, number one, it's heavy. It's, you definitely notice carrying this thing around. It's got a lot of weight to it, and it's two-hand open and close. So, not exactly a one-handed knife if you're in a position where you need to pull out a knife for some reason with one hand and open it. This probably isn't the knife that you want to have in your hand. But, having said that, this is a knife that you could rely on. You could use this in the campground, you could use this hunting, you could use this for chores in the backyard and all that kind of stuff, in the garage and at work, and know that this knife is going to stand up to pretty much whatever task you put it to. It is a good solid knife, well built. Yeah, it would take a lot of abuse and punishment. Hopefully you don't abuse and punish your knives just for something to do, but it's definitely one that you could use in heavy work situations and know that it's going to last. But as I say, it is a two-handed knife, and it is heavy, and you have to carry it in a sheath, which for some people is not a problem. It's not the way I like to carry my knives, though. I prefer the pocket clip, a lighter knife, and one hand open. But that's just me. But that is the Buck 112 Ranger. Nice solid knife, make a great everyday carry. Knife you can rely on. This is a knife you could actually hammer with. I don't suggest it, but you could, just because of the weight and the way it's built. But yeah, good solid knife for somebody that doesn't mind a pocket sheath or a belt sheath and a good heavy knife. This would be a good one for you. So anyway, that's the Buck 112 Ranger. Thank you for joining me on this review. Be sure to leave a like and a comment. Hit the subscribe button. I'll be doing another review in a couple days, but until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.